Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing eyeshadow palettes, but not just eyeshadow palettes. I have been seeing a ton of articles lately that eyeshadow palettes are dying. Like, people are not using them. People that use eyeshadow palettes are old. I have this one on my table, so I'm just going to show you this. Not for any particular reason other than this is the only one that I had sitting here. But do you think that eyeshadow palettes are becoming an old person thing? We're going to discuss that a little bit today. And then I have, on a daily, I don't use palettes. I tend to use single shadows. So I'm going to swatch my color pops. If I swatched all of my single shadows, we would be here for a hot minute, but it's mostly going to be my color pop shadows. I have a couple, like maybe 5 or 6 that, you know, these ones look like color pop, but these are Ace Beauty, and then I have like Wander Beauty, Dose of Color. So it's just going to be this container, and then I will swatch. You know, I'll start off with the ones that I've been using. These 4 in particular I keep in my bag upstairs, but I'll kind of discuss why I've been using these. And it's not because I'm trying to follow a trend or anything like that, but we're going to discuss this because I think it's a really interesting topic. And I still see brands promoting palettes, so I don't think palettes are completely dead, but I've been seeing a bunch of articles that, like I said, that eyeshadow palettes are dying. People that use eyeshadow palettes are old, blah, 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 all the things. So we're going to discuss it, and then definitely leave me your thoughts down in the comments. But yeah, if you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're not new, I appreciate you being here, and we're going to jump into the video. Like I showed, I am somebody that still uses palettes. I probably have closer to 300. I need to do another palette like organization and declutter video. I did one at the end of the year. We're going to need to do another one here this summer, but I have Dee Dee's signature. This is the Ultimate Cappuccino. I just have this on my desk because I got it recently in a subscription box. Really nice, really pretty duochromes, but I like the variety that you can get from a palette. Like, there's a couple pops of color, some neutrals. I just don't tend to use them on a daily basis. Generally, when I do makeup, I'm doing it upstairs and I have to keep it under 15 minutes. I have 2 little kids. My 6-year-old is in kindergarten, so during the week she's not here, but my younger 2 are 2.5 and 1.5. So if I do makeup during the day, which generally looks like this, and I've just been doing it to try and help my mental health because I'm not really leaving the house much, but I have shown my everyday makeup bag, but I generally tend to use single shadows. Like, I'm wearing Ritz today, and I'll either just put, like, I just have Ritz on, or if I do put a color in the crease, it's generally my bronzer. If I do use a palette, it's one of these. Like, I have 4. I think I have 4. I have a more pinky one. These are all from ColourPop. A couple of these I got in a mystery box, and then my friend Christine sent me a couple. So I have a pinky one, a golden one, a green one, and a blue one. Just 5 shadows. These are, I keep these in with my primers, but like this dark brown I will use to set my pencil, my brow pencil, because this is a good brow powder. My other brow powder that I like to use is in here, but I don't always have this in my makeup bag. So the main reason that I'll keep these is, again, crease color, lid color, and that's it. The only time I do more than that is if my husband is home and it's a weekend, because obviously I can spend a little bit more time. But that's the only reason that I've kind of gravitated towards that on the day-to-day is just because of speed. Again, if I'm doing my makeup, I need to keep it under 15 minutes. Now, again, on the weekends, like if my husband and I are going to go have a date night or go somewhere, I will come down and bring out a palette and do a full eye look and do the whole thing. But I've been seeing where that is not what's popular. What is popular is women, and I would say it's probably, what would that be considered? Like Gen Z, like girls in their early 20s are using like a glowy powder like the Kosas and just setting their eyelid and doing a little bit of liner and mascara and that's it. Or doing what I just talked about where they do like just one shadow or shadow stick and they go on their way. And that's just what's trending right now from what I'm seeing, or the powers that be are trying to force that to trend. So I'm curious, are you guys still using palettes, or are you doing, like, what are people using on the day-to-day? Because again, for me, I'm using singles, but it's only out of necessity, not necessarily because I'm trying to be trendy. It's just about speed. So I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer and I'll start swatching and then we'll continue on this conversation. I'm just going to swatch them here, and then if we need to, we'll jump on this side. I was going to point the camera down, but I went back and forth. Because we're still discussing, I think it'll be easier to have you just like this. But let me know in the future if you would prefer me to go from above, because I definitely can. But let's look at the 4 that I have in my bag, and then I may add a couple more just because I'm trying to get my bag ready to go to Montana. Like I might throw my Kosas powder in my bag too, but okay. So what I have on my eyes right now is Ritz. This is a new one I had to repurchase because mine expired, but these 4 that I'm swatching first are like what's popular. It's like a champagne shimmer, and then I'm seeing the other end of the spectrum where people are doing a little bit more of like a satin shadow stick, or like I said, just setting with like a Kosas cloud set or something like the Halo, e.l.f. Halo, and no eyeshadow at all, which I think is interesting. The next one is I Heart This. This was part of their, like when they launched the taupe palette. Looks like that. So most of the ones, well, all the ones that I have in my bag currently are all like nudie champagne colors. Ladybird is one of my favorites. This one has a lot of like micro shimmer in it. It just seems like people are getting away from, like I said, palettes, a lot of color. You're probably like, those all look the same. This one is super sparkly compared to the others, like super sparkly. If you want a little like micro shimmer, definitely check out Ladybird. And then the last one out of this group is Mighty Morphin. This one's got a little bit of a pink reflect. It's a little bit more subdued. I would say this is probably what I'm seeing people use the most, just because it's got a little bit of shimmer, but it's probably, again, the most subtle. Like it looks pretty subtle when I wear it on my eye, but again, it's got a little bit of a gold to pink shift. It's very pretty. This is one that I'll tend to put a little bit of bronzer in the crease, but it seems like, and it could be part of the, you know, during Christmas I was seeing like the sad beige mom aesthetic and the minimalist aesthetic. It seems like this is a follow through kind of that, because people are trying to go back to more minimalistic makeup. I'm going to pull out a couple that I think I might put in my bag to take with me. This is Fringe. This was part of the Sage the Day, and I actually have both Super Shocks from that. But there's Fringe. Is really, really pretty. Again, it's got a little bit of a pink shift. The other one that was part of that is called Corsage. And I'm somebody that I've had Super Shocks and then wasn't using them and decluttered a bunch. And then now I'm kind of back in where I'm wearing them. again. So then I've repurchased. I have one from the Haunted Mansion. This one's got kind of a blue shift. This is called Creeping. I only bought this one from the collection, but I don't have a blue in there per se. So that one's kind of pretty. I might put that one in there too. I have room to add a few more. And then I was looking at adding some sort of a pink one. So let's see, let's swatch. This is Plot Twist. And this is definitely, again, more of a color that I'm seeing from people. Very, very subtle is basically what I'm getting at. Not like super bright colors. This one is Party of Five. I might add this one. This one's got a like a pretty, little more pinky. And it's just interesting. And I see it happen too, like with palettes, where sometimes Birthday Cake, this was one of their birthday ones. This one's starting to get a little dry. Sometimes neutral palettes are popular. And then sometimes, you know, the rainbow palettes are popular. There's like ebbs and flows with that. But right now, people are very anti eyeshadow palette, which I think is interesting. I have a darker one. This is in Dream Lover. It's kind of a purpley one. There it is right there. And again, I had more than this years ago and I wasn't using them, so I decluttered a bunch, and then now I'm back using them again. But like I said, it's just out of necessity. This is Main Character Energy. It's got a pretty purple shift also. Put that up there. And like I showed you, I do have those 4 ColourPop 5 pans, so those are going to come with me too. But when I travel, I don't like to bring super expensive makeup. Like if any of those shattered, like I would be sad, but it's not the end of the world. This one is in Heads Up. It's super like fiery coral. It's very, very pretty, but it's very bright, which is, again, not what I'm seeing right now as far as what they're trying to push in like Vogue and some of those like higher fashion magazines. Here's another birthday one. This one is It's My Party. This has an 8 on it, so this one's a really pretty gold. Right there. And these, you can use them after they've started to dry out. Like I had Ritz for a long, long time after it dried out. I have the Fozzie Bear one from the Muppet collection. And then it finally reached a point where I wasn't getting any color off of it, so I had to replace it. But there's Fozzie up there. Let's see. Bring that one. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, I think what I've added is probably good. I don't want to overload my bag. And then the last one right here is Moonwalk, which is a little bit limey. And then we'll swatch some of my other brands. But I think it's interesting how hard they're pushing the no palette thing right now as far as like the high fashion magazines. And I'm not really sure why. And I talked about it in the video before this, where like social media, I think, is to blame for the need to like compulsive buy and overbuy because we get bombarded by ads. But I know people are still making eyeshadow palettes because I've seen all of like the indie brands. There's quite a few new launches and they've all got palettes in them. But that's why I said the powers that be, whoever that is trying to push a narrative that palettes are not popular. I have this one from Wander Beauty. It's called Double Date. It's really pretty, but it's got this weird, like, well, it's not really weird. It's got a cream shadow underneath. I had one where it was like clear. This one's actually got color to it. So it's like a taupey cream shadow. And then you've got this really pretty powder on top. Yeah, I had another one, like I said, where the cream part was almost like clear. I decluttered that one, but that's pretty. So you can use them separately or together. And I keep that in here. And then I've got this single from Pat McGrath. Trying to dry my hands off here. And it's just a rose gold right there, kind of a coppery color. I've got one from Prismetal from JCat. This is Wicked Dragon. It's a pretty kind of blue. This feels really dry. I think this one dried out. So I'm going to toss this one while we're sitting here, which is a shame because this was really, really pretty and I haven't had it that long. So, and it was, the lid was on and everything, but I am not getting like any color payoff on that. So that one can go in the garbage. And then I have 4 more. My friend Christine sent me, they look like Color Pops Super Shocks, but they're actually from Ace Beauté. And this was part of some, does it say on here? Tropical, like they're one of their tropical. And there was a palette that went with this, but this is Fan Palm. Looks like that. This one's a little bit more grungy. These are really soft, really sparkly. I think they're about the same price as a ColourPop Super Shock because the Super Shocks are not $5 a piece anymore. This one is Rowan. It's a little bit more of a, like a blue-green right there. So yeah, I'm curious to know, I know like my friend Christine that watches my videos, she still uses palettes. But I'm curious to know, like, as a whole, are people still using palettes, or is it just like a narrative that whomever is trying to spin? This one is Lotus Leaf. And I don't know who, it's like, you know, the Anna Winters of society that decide what's popular and what's not, that ends up, you know, in Vogue. I don't know who decides. But somebody made that executive decision, and it's like, are people actually doing that, or are they just saying that? And then this one is Green Hibiscus. This one's really pretty. Take that one with me too, just because I don't know what I'm wearing. So that gives me 2, 4, 6, 8. And then those 4. And I'm not bringing a big palette with me. I'm going to go for 2 weeks. We're trying to clean out my grandmother's house. She passed away this past October. My parents and I and my husband moved my grandmother up last summer, just for reference. So I'm going for 2 weeks. We've got to do an estate sale, clean out her house, have the funeral. So the only reason I'm not bringing a palette is I don't think I'm going to be spending a ton of time. Like at the funeral, I'm probably going to either do like super minimal makeup like this, or no makeup at all, just because I know I'm going to be crying, that kind of a thing. So I just didn't feel like I needed to bring a big palette, just because, again, I worry about stuff breaking when I travel. And I'm not going to use it. Oh, I missed one. I have a Dose of Color in Night Sky. But that's the only reason, because I've got close to 300 palettes. That's a cool black. I don't think I've ever used this on my eyes. If I did, it was like one time. It's kind of a bluey black. That's an interesting color. I'll keep that. But that's the only reason. Normally when I travel, I'll bring, you know, like an Odin's Eye palettes travel really well. And my makeup does go in my backpack that I carry on the plane. I don't check My makeup, I always have it on my person so it's not rolling around, but I do always worry about stuff getting broken. So again, like my ColourPop 5 pans, because I'm looking at the pile. I have 3 more. They're all, like they're 2 neutrally and 1 kind of a little more rusty colored, but point being, if those got broken, I have others, and then I've obviously got Super Shocks, and the Super Shocks could be replaced. I think these will all fit in here. I didn't have these Ace Beauté ones in this bucket, but I think they'll fit in here. I reorganized this a little bit so it's not quite so overflowing, but yeah, you'll have to let me know if you guys are still using palettes. I'm very, very curious. And again, I don't know who's behind this current narrative that they're spinning, but that's what I'm seeing. And I don't know. I'm one of those, I don't really care about the trends. Like I still will do a cut crease, even though that's, you know, 2016 makeup. I like bright colored makeup. So when I have time, I do it. So I don't really worry about the trends in that regard. I just continue on because everything circles back around eventually. So like right now we're in minimalist eyeshadow. It's gonna go back to the louder, like Nikki Tutorial style, Jeffree Star style, like the super loud color, like the pendulum will swing back that way eventually. So it's one of those, I just continue on and wait for it to go back, and then I'm not considered old anymore. But yeah, I'm just curious if anybody else is kind of following suit. What kind of makeup do you guys do on the day-to-day? I am curious. Leave me those comments down below. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, make sure you subscribe if you are new, and hopefully I will see you all in another video. Bye everyone.